That's what I know.
You are up, Commissioner.
All right, go ahead and introduce yourself, and you got the floor.
I got the floor. Okay. My name is Melissa Hartman, and I am the Bannock County Veterans Services Coordinator. And I am here today to talk a little bit about two subjects. Three actually, the budget as a whole, but also a grade revision in my position and also a new position that are listed on my budget. Is there any particular order you guys would like me to follow when I talk about those, or
Start with salaries.
start with salaries? Okay.
If you're going to talk about specific names, we'll need to go into executive session. If you just keep
Nope.
it general.
I'll keep it very general. I have no specific names. I mean,
Okay.
except for I'm talking about my own job grade revision. Does that change the dynamic?
I don't think so, because you're talking
No.
about yourself.
It's
If you want to do it.
It's the position.
Yeah, it's the position. It just happens to be my position.
Okay.
So I have some things that I felt like was better to hand out and to give you guys so you can follow along with me. I don't know if you want these or not, but they're there. I printed them for you. If you
I'm not sure where they'll
If
end
you
up.
do,
but-
Yeah, Ernie's not gonna give me
I'm just gonna shoot off a whole bunch of stats and stuff, and I feel like sometimes that's a little easier if you see it in writing too.
Melissa, in the future, would you include extra copies for?
I have some copies too.
Here we go.
Okay.
I'm just getting them.
Oh, I got another one.
We can share.
That's okay.
Wasn't me that held them up that time.
They were stuck. That staple was stuck to the other
Sally.
staple. I didn't do it on purpose like Ken did.
Sally. All right.
There's some verbal abuse.
So first, I'm going to apologize. My allergies are really on fire, and so if I sniffle and snuffle and my eyes start watering, I'm not crying. Just allergy season. It's my friend, not. Plus, I am not really comfortable discussing this. It's something that I haven't really ever done. I've always kind of left it in your hands to do stuff. And what I've realized over the last year is that you guys don't know what you don't know. And that's not anything bad about the commission. It's just you've always let me just kind of have my ability to do what I've done, what I've been doing, and you've always given me that flexibility to make my own decisions for my department. I appreciate that, but I realize that it has probably created an inability for me to express what I really do and what happens in my office. So I want to go through that a little bit because I do want to talk about changing the grade level of the department head position in Veteran Services. So my original proposal was for a grade 14. And I have to tell you, that was a really prideful request that I made. And after doing some more research into HR's SOP for job families, I realized that was an inappropriate request. I don't feel like it should be a 14. There's no way I'm a 14. I have some characteristics of a 14. But what I am more aligned with, what I realized, is to stay in my own job family of an administrative professional. But I realize that I have so many more characteristics than what even that administrative professional leads to, and it goes into the administrative manager positions. I do not know. It's unfortunate that there isn't a step 13 because I feel like I'm somewhere in between that 12 and that 14. But let me just talk about those a little bit. So if we looked at that sheet that I handed you, just underneath of the box, it talks about some of the stats from here in Bannock County. Okay, we currently have 5,465 veterans that reside within Bannock County, and 2,066 of them are enrolled in the VA healthcare system. Of the 5,400 veterans plus veterans, my office has 2,426 active clients. So approximately 44% of the county's population are clients of mine. Only 38% of the county's population are clients of the VAs. That's because some veterans aren't eligible. Some veterans choose not to use the VA. That's what that discrepancy is. Wanted to clear that up. In compensation and pension payments that come to the VA, or come from the VA to veterans in our county, we are over $38 million a year. And that exact number is on that sheet. So compensation and pension, just for those of you who don't understand what that is, those are payments, cash dollars that come from Bannock County residents annually that funnel back into the county's economy, making a larger impact on the economy of Bannock County than most employers in the area. Benefits for education that are paid out to veterans in our area are over $2 million, almost $3 million a year. These benefits are not only tuition, they are also monthly cash stipend payments. So again, cash money that is funneled back into our community for living expenses. Life insurance payouts. These go to dependents. They're one-time disbursements. In fiscal year 23, that's what these numbers are coming from, is from the VA's expenditure reports from fiscal year 23, because that's the most current year they have published. But there was $130,000 in life insurance payments paid out to beneficiaries in Bannock County. Medical expenses. The VA covered $31,958 in medical expenses. Those are the equivalent to an employer's benefit package. $31,958. This includes the cost of medical treatment the veteran received at the local community-based outpatient clinic here in Pocatello, as well as any authorized treatment to providers in our community through the community care program at the VA. Anybody have any questions about those stats? Can I answer anything? Okay. Super. Well, glad I had notes. So I'm feeling myself getting apologize. I'm not used to doing this. I'm trying to remain very objective. I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. So, when I looked at these different job families and the different groups, here are the bullet points that I pulled out of that document. I'm not a medium scale department, right? I'm small at best. I'm like a minuscule department, and I totally get that. But I only serve 6% of Bannock County's overall population. Even though I serve a big veteran population, it's only 6% of Bannock County's population. But I think if we looked at that and we thought veterans have families, and we multiplied that, I might be able to convince you to consider it as 12%. You know, spouse, kid, or two. A lot of those education benefits are actually benefits paid to dependents for going to school. As far as supervising goes, you know, there's only 2 people in our department. It's pretty hard to not be able to supervise 2 people, maybe 3 if things go my way today. I do supervise some work study positions, though. Those are all grant funded through the work study program, so you guys don't have to pay for that. That's just an added thing. It helps. So in the VA world, they refer to their work studies as outreach specialists. And so that helps with people who might need just a little extra helping hand. Because you have to remember, the veterans who I see in my office, they're not the ones who are capable of functioning through getting online and doing their own stuff. These are the people who need the most assistance, the one-on-one time, a lot of the one-on-one time. So having the extra hand from the work study students is very beneficial to our office. So then the other thing that popped out to me was highly developed technical and professional knowledge of a specialized field. They're not cranking people out of colleges with knowledge of the 38 CFR. And if they do, they have a JD behind their name and they're making a whole lot more money than I'm asking for here. I have 25 years of experience in veterans advocacy. I've attended more than 20 Idaho Division of Veterans Services annual service officer trainings, and I recently passed the certification process to be accredited under the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers. So the next thing that popped out to me was, are you a subject matter expert? I have significant experience in my field. Well, I'm far from knowing everything because things change and evolve. I do have experience and knowledge and get called upon from multiple agencies as a subject matter expert, including our own coroner's office and our own indigent services office and our assessor's office on a regular basis. I directly serve clients with non-routine, sensitive, and highly confidential needs. In 2024, I met with over 1,100 clients. I filed over 461 claims, and I also spoke with over 1,900 people on the phone. Decisions that impact, my decisions do impact a large number of citizens, and they don't, but they do make a profound impact on that small group that I do serve. So oftentimes the financial monies that are coming from the work that I do that gets supported by you, it takes a veteran out of homelessness and substance abuse and converts them back into a productive member of our community and also into home ownership. That's huge. We can see that happen within about 3 to 5 years of somebody being homeless and destitute and addicted to some kind of substance. So while I only serve a few people in our county, my impact is huge for those few that I serve. So then it goes into talking about required to report or analyze consultation guidance. So I give consultation to you guys, what we do. County Veteran Service Officers talk about that. The 6th District Treatment Court, we have that here in the area. I'm a member of that court, was one of the beginning people of that court. Oftentimes travel with that court to different trainings, have had the opportunity to do that in the past. I sit on several advisory committees, and I have lists of all of the extracurricular things that I do along the lines of those. There are 35 activities, events, and programs they either sit on, advise on, develop, or manage. And I can give you that list. I brought enough copies for everybody for you to review if you want to see what that is. But the top ones are the Area Agency on Aging, the Housing and Homeless Coalition, the Idaho Honor Flight, ISU Adult Education Advisory Board, the Joining Forces of Southeast Idaho, the Joint Emergency Assistance Program, Public Transportation Human Service Coordination, Region 6 Crisis Intervention Coordinators, and VISN 19 Advisory Council for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I coordinate and co-coordinate the following events: the 3Es of education, the 3Es of readjustment, the 6th District Veterans Court, the 9/11 Annual Remembrance, the Estate Planning Workshop, the Idaho Field of Heroes Memorial, Mind Matters Mental Health Awareness, Operation Greenlight for Veterans, outreaches to Downey, McCammon, and to the VA's community-based outpatient clinic. And I also work on the Pearl Harbor Remembrance. I have a full knowledge of the 38 CFR. That's the Code of Federal Regulations. I renew that knowledge annually through a training that's offered by the Idaho Division of Veterans Services. And like I said earlier, recently have passed and applied for accreditation certification through the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers. That's what I do. And that's why I believe my position warrants that higher grade, higher than a grade 10, which it currently is. Again, I don't believe I'm a 14 like I requested. I meet the requirements of a 12. And I believe I'm somewhere in between that 12 and 14, but I also know that our policy doesn't allow for that. So what I'm asking for is a 12 at a level 4. A step 4 that puts me in line with what HR's recommendation was for the grade proposal cost-wise for budgeting purposes. It's only a couple dollars difference. If we looked at that back into that chart there at the top, It shows that grade 12 is 2844. HR's proposal was a grade 11 step 5, which was 2792. So we're not talking about a whole lot of money difference, a difference of $1,000 a year. And then plus about 40% of that for the change in benefits. So that's my part about my grade change.
Thank you.
Okay? And I recognize your time is important, so I don't want to take up too much time, but I do want to talk about that second page there on that handout that I gave you, and that's the justification for the new position that I would like to have. In addition to the administrative assistant that we just hired, I would like to have a third position in my office. So I did a little math for us. 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, 2,080 hours a year. Those are the work. That's what we work, basically, right? 10 hours a day for 10 holidays, that's 100 hours, minus the 160 for approximately 4 weeks of vacation if I did that. So I calculated out that I work about 1,820 working hours a year. And then I figured that out, that about 50% of those hours are assigned to appointments, tasks, meeting with veterans, all of that. So about 910 hours a year is what a person would feasibly be able to accommodate meeting a task, right? So if I see 1,173 veterans, and on average it takes an hour and a half for each one, that includes case management and all of that kind of stuff to follow through with them. We're talking about 1,760 hours in the year. That almost maxes out all of my working hours in a year, just seeing the veterans that I see. But then if you include into that 30% of my time spent on all of the list of the stuff that I just read to you, that I can give you so that you can refer back to it if you'd like. If I work 30% of my time doing that, that would be about 546 hours. But what I calculated out as these 35 different organizations, events, and programs, about 18 hours each, averaging, some less, some much more. But about 18 hours a piece, that's 96 hours a year more than the 30% that I have allotted for time. Then, if we look at the last 20%, that would be the time of the hours assigned to maintaining the functionality of my department itself, or about 364 hours a year for monitoring the budget, managing my department level staff, arranging professional training, educating my department, securing funding through grants, partnerships for department use, setting strategic goals and policies to improve services for veterans within the department and the community. If I was being perfectly honest with you, that doesn't get done at 20% of the time, because I don't have enough time to do all of those other things that have to be done. This 20% of these things, I consider them more of a nice to do, because I don't have the time to do them. So for this reason, on this second page, these hours breakdown, I am asking that I have another person put into my office that would not be an administrative staff, but would be more of a claims person, so a second VSO. There are several reasons why that would be helpful. Number one, our department's growing. Veterans are coming to our area. We are still under a declaration of war that has been established since 1990. Veterans are not always going to need our help. I can't imagine a time where we will not be serving veterans. I believe that in order for us to be able to honor the Idaho Code 65-601, honoring veterans and serving veterans, that encourages counties to hire a service officer, I think me being spread this thin doesn't do that request the justice that it deserves. And something has to give. Either I have to quit doing parts of this, or I have to have help doing all of this. Because I can't keep up with this anymore. It's running over the top of me. Okay, so that's my request for that piece. Now let's get to the part that you guys really care about. My other part of my budget, right? So those are my salary requests. Oh, and I did request that the position, one last thing, I did request that the position that I have currently as the administrative assistant be switched to a 7. That was when I thought we were going to maybe hire somebody who had enough experience to warrant that. Again, don't know that we need a 7 step 4, but I would like to see that raised from a 5. I thought it was a 6, to be perfectly honest with you, which caused some confusion. So I was hoping for a grade higher. So I know I requested a 7 in formal requests, but what I really meant was 1 grade higher, which would have taken it from a 5 to a 6. So now in operating, or in our operations, right? So I don't have a big budget, you guys know that. If we're able to hire a 3rd person, that's what my budget is showing. There would be some additional costs associated with that. The software to connect with the state and a parking pass for 3 employees with a new laptop one-time purchase of $15, unless I can get one through the IT. Then the budget can be about $2,000 a year for all 3 of those employees to have that. And or if I have to buy my own laptop for that person, I'll need that $3,500. The repairs for my copy machine, it can be reduced. So it was $1,500 last year, but because of our purchasing and switching to Fisher, the new contract has reduced that, so that I'm actually saving $700. The Idaho Division of Veterans Services, the school, that would increase in budget to have 3 employees go to that. I'm requesting $3,000 for an increase if we're allowed to have an extra employee. So it'll be our entire department. Now the state of Idaho does reimburse the county for 1 person from the county to go. And that reimbursement is for the per diem and the mileage. However, if the people inside of that are going, that we hire, are veterans and they belong to a service organization, if that service organization wants to sponsor them to go and they attend as the Bannock County Veterans Service Office and representing, let's say, AMVETS Post 1, then the state will reimburse for that person under that AMVETS qualifier. So we would still pay their lodging and we would still pay their wages, but as far as the mileage and the per diem would go, that would be reimbursed back to the county for that piece. And I'm not exactly sure how the logistics looks on that, if it comes to the county or if it goes to the person. But
It should come to the county. If
Well,
we're paying the expense, it needs to come to the county.
Right. So I just don't know how the state would look at that if that person would not be allowed to get the per diem from the county
They would just get.
and get the
state.
reimbursement from the state, or how that would work out.
Okay.
But there should be some easy way for us to combine that and correct that piece.
Okay.
But the upfront cost to us would be about $3,000 for lodging, per diem, and the school. Then for the education, I'm asking for $1,200. That would include $65 annual National Association of County Veteran Service Officer membership for 2 employees and $450 in training for those 2 employees. That training sessions, for the most part, looks like they're all online, so there's no travel associated with that. In the higher levels, it looks like there are some travel pieces, but that's not anything I feel like at this time would be important for us to take part in. The other piece that we would have to increase would be our cell phone cost. There is no telephone costs at the university any longer for us. That is all being covered by the university itself. But we have our own cell phone numbers that we monitor, and we're trying to convert everybody over to using those cell phone numbers instead of relying solely on the university's phone numbers, because we don't know how long that's going to stay in place. And we have no control over it, so it's always a volatile, who knows what's going to happen. But we would need 3 cell phones, and so that would need to increase by about $600. I think that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Questions?
I don't have any.
No? Oh, thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you.